DKOldies is a freaking scam. Do not buy from DKOldies because they are scam artists that loves to charge high premium prices for their products and consider that they're refurbished when clearly they are not doing a single fucking dime to their items. Don't buy DKOldies because we are about to show you what is going on with DKOldies. Are you ready? Here we go. Let's get this video on the road, shall we? Alright, so we are officially here on DKOldies' website, and there has been a lot of criticism going on with these guys, especially with them asking high prices. Like, here's one for an example right here. Well, technically two of them. You got a original PlayStation 3, and just by the price of it, not saying that it completely is, but something tells me this is one of the backward compatible PS2 versions of the PlayStation 3. Now, granted, all fat PS3s were not fully backwards compatible with PS2s. Only three select models were. There was the 20 gig model and the 60 gig model, which were both launch editions of the PlayStation 3. They were both launch models, and those two were backwards compatible fully with PlayStation 2. And then about a year or two or so later, some models, they took the PS2 chip out, and then there was another model that was an 80 gig model, and that's what possibly this could be if they didn't lie. But I've watched quite a few of YouTubers like Jacob R. and Review Tech USA had systems where they completely have the title of what it is, and it was completely not exactly what the title was, and it didn't include what it said it was going to include. So that's probably what this could be, but I could be honestly wrong with the way that they have lied. But if this one is that price and it's saying that it is the 80 gig model, that actually might be the PlayStation 3 that is backwards compatible and whatnot. Hold on, I gotta turn off my phone data on my phone and such so that way I don't keep getting freaking, like all these buzzing noises like my phone going off when whatever. But here it is. Like, you can just tell, like, for $400, even if that was a backwards compatible PS3, you could easily find one for way cheaper than that. I would say a fat PS3 that has the PS2 emulator and PS2 chip in them, whether if it's the 80 gig model that is only an emulator, which the 80 gig emulator model, it doesn't play all PlayStation 2 games, but it still plays about 80 to 90% of PS2 games, which we have one right now. And every PS2 game that we played on it, granted, we've only played like several games, not like a complete ton of them, but every PS2 game that I've put in that system, it's played like it's a fat PS3 that plays the PS2 games. So you can find one of these way cheaper than this and probably a lot cleaner. Probably in great, better working condition and a lot cleaner than what they have here. Because they have said that they refurbish, and they even made a video, which we will play the video here in a few, but they clearly have made a video saying that they refurbish their consoles when I've watched reviewers like Jacob R., like Review Tech USA and like one or two others, and they are completely not clean, and they don't have no new thermal paste that is supposed to help the consoles have a refresh and start like it's a brand new console. Like, they clearly don't. They're not doing a single anything to these consoles. But some of these prices on these games, and granted, I will say, like, prices like Tomb Raider and Far Cry 3, you know, PlayStation 3 games and whatever, like, you know, prices on some games are incredibly, perfectly acceptable, and they're perfectly good. Like for an example, these. And then right here, where this is a slim PS3, that's not too far off on pricing, but you could get a slim PS3 probably with the same, if not more amount of storage, probably cheaper than this. Like, we're talking about $100, somewhere down to like $80, and I would say probably $125 at most. So they are not too far off when it comes to this one, but it is still a little bit higher than market value. You could, and especially it being almost $300 total without the sale price, you could literally find a Xbox Series S, which is, keep this in mind, is 2 generations later and newer than that for almost the same price. You're going to be getting way better hardware, better looking games that can perform way better than what they especially did on the PlayStation 3, and better yet, you could easily find a PlayStation 4 Pro for about that price, for about $270 that they're asking for that PS3 if it wasn't on sale. Like, you could find better deals for PlayStation 4s, and especially an Xbox Series S, which is way more capable of playing games and way better hardware than that PlayStation 3 is. And who knows that even PS3 is even going to work. So this is just way out of hand when you can find better prices. So yeah, like I stated in the beginning of the video, do not buy from DKOldies. They are a freaking scam artist that will charge you for broken pieces of equipment just to, you know, rip you off, screw you over, because they don't give a crap about their products. They just don't give a crap. They're literally just trying to milk and dime every single person out there and not do a single fucking thing about it. So don't buy from DKOldies. Just period. Don't buy from DKOldies. So we'll go ahead and show you a couple more consoles. And like this one right here, as you see it. An Xbox 360, 250 gigabyte, a slim model for literally $200 on sale, and say it all. You could save $45 when it's $240. And who even knows if this console's even clean? It's got better thermal paste to have a, like, if they clean these consoles and they literally had fresh new thermal paste on there, and the consoles work like new, and they were clean, like almost brand new looking. Now, granted, there's going to be some scuff marks and all that good stuff, but if DKOldies, if they actually do what they're saying, and the console looks almost brand new, this price wouldn't be bad for a 360. I still think it's a little bit too much, and I'd say a 360, especially a slim, is like about, I would say, at least $100 to $125. And look right here where it says condition refurbished. They're not refurbishing anything, not taking the consoles apart, not cleaning them, not even cleaning the outside of the consoles, which they could easily do in a matter of, like, 2 seconds. Like, it's completely stupid. It's retarded. So, yeah, like, right here, you got a Xbox 360 that they're asking $200 when you can clearly find one of these, heck, probably a 4 gigabyte model for less than $100. And it probably would be better condition than this and all that. So, yeah, you can just see that they are literally upcharging high premium prices for their products, and they're not doing a single fucking jack shit thing for them. They're just literally just saying, oh yeah, they're refurbished to, I guess, incentivize people to buy the product. And they're clearly not doing anything, and it fascinates a lot of the, gamers out there, and especially quite a bit of YouTubers like Review Tech USA, like Jacob R, and it's just nonsense. It's completely nonsense. But here, we're going to show you a couple different pause spots on 5 different videos from Review Tech USA and Jacob R on recently consoles that they have purchased recently from DKOldies in the last month. So the first one is, this is Review Tech USA's latest video he just did a few hours ago, and this is a original Xbox, and just let me pull the screen up better. Just look at that white, dried up, liquid scuff stuff, or whatever the fuck that is. Like, look at that. That's literally insane. And his console wasn't even hardly reading discs. And then when he got it to read discs, it was skipping, not even playing the game properly. And that right there is possibly one reason. So yeah, DKOldies did not take this original Xbox apart at all. They literally freaking did not. And let's actually watch Review Tech USA's last bit of this video, because I agree with him every step of the way. So let's watch the rest of this, and you can see what he's going to say about it.
Power supply are swollen and on the brink of leaking, you said?
Well, these might have been held down by this, but this is definitely a problem. That may be a one. Let's see, what output voltages do we have? 5 and 12 and 3. Okay, so there's 4 caps, 4 different voltages, and these are 6.3, so they're probably on the 5 or the 3.3 volt rail.
So how many caps are bad, do you think, in here?
Right now, can't tell with the marker on that, but that looks okay. Right now,
that top looks flat.
Now there's 4. What thermal piece?
All right, hold on.
Wow, did that just get? Was there some kind of pad there that got melted through?
I don't know.
I'm not
but
sure what it is.
They definitely. Let me feel it. No, the whatever thermal paste is here. Make sure I'm focused. Just hold it still for a second.
And you can actually clearly see right there that there is no thermal paste literally on that console, and that could be a big reason as to why it wasn't barely playing 2 of the games that he tried out. That right there is a big problem. That is one of the main things to do to a console, especially for it to run properly and to cool off decently, is fresh thermal paste. That is a big, big problem. Those consoles need those. That is important for any kind of console or PC usage or whatever technology related. Thermal paste is very, very important. That right there is clearly showing you that they are not doing a single thing to these consoles.
All right, so whatever thermal paste is here is absolutely rock solid. They've done absolutely nothing on there. And let me look at the processor 1 second. Look at here. Now look at it. Look at it. Bone dry. Absolutely bone dry. Just want to let it be known that we did take off this clamp, and this still didn't come off, by the way. So for everyone who saw the clamp on before, yes, it was removed. And we still couldn't pull it up because the thermal paste is probably that dry.
So, DKOldies, I don't really know what to say. Is Joey going around blocking everybody who talks about him? Is the social media manager going around and damage controlling? I cannot believe they had the audacity. I have the video right here called DKOldies Refurbishes Consoles, after countless YouTubers, including me, have proven that they don't. You refurbished this one, DKOldies. It has swollen capacitors inside. The power button doesn't work 1 out of every, let's say, 8 times. So I'm being conservative, I'm not being melodramatic or over exaggerating. It doesn't read discs. Part of the reason my dad says it may not read discs, it may not necessarily be the laser itself. It could be that the capacitors on the power supply are starting to fail, so it cannot properly read discs. That's speculation, but it doesn't matter at this point. The dried thermal paste we showed you, that on one of the processors was so dried that we couldn't even take the fins off of it. You didn't refurbish this. You didn't refurbish the PlayStation 2. You didn't refurbish the Nintendo Entertainment System. If you were just selling these at the price you were selling them at and just saying, hey, it's what it is, no one would care. But you literally have a video that you put up 3 days ago called DKOldies Refurbishes Consoles. You don't. You're liars. You use that as an excuse, that lie as an excuse to sell these at a premium. That's the problem that we have with you. You are scam artists and you need to be exposed. I'm taking a break from them for a while, but for Christ's sake, I don't know how many more examples you need. DKOldies is a scam, and they're liars, and they're trying to pull the wool over normies' eyes, showing that they're doing these things to these consoles, showing that they're refurbishing them when they're flat out not, and they're screwing people out of money. Also, again, huge.
So yeah, like you can just like tell, like just by that console where you seen that there is some liquid dried up stuff on there, like that white little line spot on top of the motherboard, you can literally tell that that is old and they did not take this console apart because they could easily notice that. And then, like we mentioned, the thermal paste, that is very, very important to any kind of console gaming related, whether if it's a PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, freaking gaming PC, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, whatever the freaking platform it is. It doesn't matter if it's a PS1, an old school N64, a PS2. It doesn't matter if it's an old console from the early 2000s, late 90s, or if it's a current console like the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Thermal paste, fresh new thermal paste, is always important for a console like those. And right there is showing proof that they're not doing a single freaking thing to their consoles. But let me see if I can find the let's see if I can find the video of them showing, you know, the minute and 52 seconds of them trying to say and show that they absolutely do refurbish their consoles. Let me see if I can find it here. Because granted, they really don't, and it's completely, it's retarded. It's stupid. Let me see. I'm not seeing it on here. Yeah, right here it is.
Every day, tons of new collections.
So this is the video. This guy is a freaking fraud. Literally does not do a single fucking thing. So, like I said, don't buy anything from DKOldies, period. Just don't. Because they want your money, and you're just going to get a freaking crappy product that won't even work half the time, so it's not even worth the extra money. If they did their stuff right, they cleaned, and they actually refurbished those platforms, then it would be understandable in a way a little bit of why the prices are a little bit high. Not that PlayStation 3 being $400 to $600 freaking dollars. Like, jeez, that's a lot. That's like almost as much as a PS5. And you could literally play, like, you know, hundreds of more games, especially new and longer story. Like, you would just get way better use out of a PS5 than you would want one of those. But like I mentioned, I do believe that the backward compatible PlayStation 3s are worth decent bit of money because of how rare that they're getting. If you can find a good, decent, working condition one, I would say they're worth anywhere from $150, probably at most, maybe $250, but no, not $400 to $600. That's asking from when those consoles first launched back in 2006. That is the launch console prices. They are not even worth that much. But here's a video of him wanting to show you, hey, they refurbished their consoles. They refurbished them. Just wait.
Get sold to us here at DKOldies. Let's take a look at this one, for example, and let's check out everything that has to happen to this Wii before we can list it for sale and it finds a new home.
No, you don't, Joey, or whatever the hell your name is. You're just making this so you freaking don't look bad, so you can, make yourself look good for absolutely no reason. You're not refurbishing these consoles. You're just doing this to make you fucking look good is why you're doing it.
First, it gets picked up by our testing department and it gets thoroughly checked out to see if there's anything that needs to be repaired. In this case, the Wii isn't reading discs, so it's going to need to head to our repairs department to get a new laser installed. Our technician Sean opens up the console, and while it's open, he'll blow out any dust or debris that may be inside. Then he'll clean out the rest of the internals, like all the blades on the fan. Now he'll install the new disk drive and then test it out to make sure it's working. And great, it's now reading discs again. Now it's time to put it all back together. And it gets passed off to Steph and our cleaning team. In the hands of a professional, a magic eraser can get rid of any dirt without damaging the finish. And a toothbrush works great for getting in those small grooves that run around the sides of the Wii. A Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol will work great for cleaning out the controller and memory card ports. Then she'll make sure the Wii has the 2 doors that go on it. And now that it's looking great, it's ready to list for sale. Okay, now that it's been tested, repaired, and cleaned, it's ready to be listed for sale on the website while it awaits its new home.
Oh yeah. Of all the countless other consoles that YouTubers have done, and they've taken the consoles apart and they are freaking filthy like a dumpster. You are not doing this crap. You are literally not refurbishing your consoles at all. So, right there is a video that they made. And he's just doing it to make himself look good. That's the only reason he's doing it. So, let's go to a PlayStation 3, one of the ones that I was actually showing you. And, yeah, this is a backwards compatible the way it looks. So, yeah. Watch a partial of Jacob R's video, and like you can see just from here what he's showing. Like $400 is not enough. Like even if that was a backwards compatible PS3, it's not worth $400 at all. You could literally get a freaking PlayStation 5 digital edition for about that price, and it has way better tech, way better hardware, and a lot better games. And the games that perform way better, even older PS4 games, they can perform better than that. So, literally, why pay that price for an old console when you can literally just go to a Walmart or get online, well, if it's available, but Sony has stated that PS5s are, the shortage is over with, and I've seen countless of disc ones at a Best Buy store altogether. So, literally, the PS5s are getting easier to get, so you can literally get one for either that price or $100 more for a disc version that performs way better. But let's watch Jacob R's video here.
That's what they call it. And I bought a cosmetically flawed system, which was $405. You can also get a good condition, which is $540, just really high prices. That's why I'm...
And right there, seriously, considered flawed system. $540. That is completely insane. That's insane for an older console.
Prices. That's why I'm So disappointed about the controller. And then one other thing, despite the fact that I chose a cosmetically flawed system, if you go down here in the description, it still says it's fully refurbished, cleaned, and tested. So I would expect this thing to be clean.
And yeah, look at that. Like, look, just see that? Like, fully refurbished, clean, and tested. And when clearly they are not. They are not doing a single freaking thing to these.
Cleaned inside, outside, and new thermal paste, all that good stuff that comes with refurbishing. So we'll see what they do to it. And also, this controller is terrible. It is very bad. They call it a DualShock 3, made by Old School. It just feels really bad.
And right there's another perfect example. They don't even include a fully on-brand controller with any of their consoles either. So the 3 videos from Review Tech USA and Jacob R, they've always, like, some of them have said that it includes the original controller, but they don't get the original controller. They get an off-brand knockoff controller. That's just, like, see, this is proof. DKOldies is a freaking scam artist. It's just, they're just a scam.
Bad in the hands. This is an actual DualShock 3. Very nice controller. So that's pretty disappointing. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on, though, and see if it works. So first we got to flip on the switch on the back. We got a red light there. Hit the power button, and we have life. No disc in there. So we'll see if it boots up now. All right, guys, so I'm finally booted up to the main screen, and this console is going crazy. The fan is blowing real loud, and I already know it's not been cleaned inside because I see a bunch of dust blowing out the sides and the back, and man, that air is hot. But we're going to go ahead and ask me to create a memory card. Let's go ahead and do that.
I'm going to go ahead and skip up a little bit to where he gets to the cleaning part, and
this thing is running. Now, obviously, once you've done that, you'll open up the app, go down to the inside of the hard drive bay.
All right, so
Off. Take this
here's
little,
where he's
little
going to
piece
take
off,
apart
and
the
then we'll
console.
slide the cover off, and then take a bunch of screws out. All right, guys, so I took the top cover off, and as you can see, a bunch of dust in here. Yeah, there you go. That's a better view. But you can see all that dust in there. I can just run my finger across it and pick up a bunch of dust. And then, even worse, I took out the hard drive, and guys, look at that. That is just bad. There's dust flying all around my room now. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that side. Terrible.
Yeah, like, right there. Like, the hard drive especially, like, even if they only did partial cleaning, that hard drive and that top part of the PS3 at least would have been clean. Like, see, they didn't even do a single thing. They just put it on there just to make it sell. And I think that's what they're doing. Like, GameStop is also bad at this, but I have noticed that GameStop is not quite as bad as the way DKOldies is. They're still bad, but just not as bad.
Terrible. And let me just show you inside of the hard drive bay. All right, yeah, so just looking inside of that, you can see dust just hanging out in that hard drive bay. Just awesome to see. Let's go ahead and take the rest of the cover off, see what it looks like on the inside. I don't have much hope for the inside of this thing, but we'll see what it looks like. All right, guys, time for the big reveal. I got all the screws off on the top. Let's go ahead and pull this cover all the way off and see what it looks like inside.
Look at that.
Oh, man. Oh, no way.
Not one bit of clean. And they labeled it as...
It actually looks better on camera than in person.
And they labeled it as freaking refurbished, tested, and clean like he showed us. They labeled that. Literally. Tested, clean, and refurbished. Right there is not proof. Or proof, I mean. I don't know why I said not proof. But right there is proof that they did not do a single freaking thing to the console.
In person, every single inch of this is covered in dirt and dust. And just look at that. Absolutely filthy. Oh my.
So, that was one video from Jacob R with a OG original PS3. And we showed you of the Xbox from Review Tech USA. And now, look at this Xbox 360 that he bought for $145. Like, just look at this. Like, here's the thermal paste. On this and on that, no fresh new thermal paste at all. And then look, you can even tell, like, this is somewhat just a little bit dirty. Not too much. But with the thermal paste is a big showing that they clearly did not They clearly did not refurbish. They did not do anything. They didn't even take the console apart. So there's that one. Now let's go over to the Nintendo Entertainment System from Review Tech USA. And just wait.
I got the holes on their own Phillips head, which are more than likely L here, but I don't think I'm the one who should. I know that sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but let me explain. So you saw that I took apart the DKOldies NES. It is successfully put back together, and I took note of the fact that screws were missing as I was taking it apart on the bottom as well. They're not using spec screws. There's a special kind of hex head that Nintendo used to use. They're using their own Phillips head, which are more than likely not the same length or the same spec as Nintendo's original screws. So I'm putting the shielding back on, I'm putting it back together, and, you know, success. It was put back together, but I was noticing something. The game was not going in properly, and I'm like, I got the holes on the back black bracket to line up, and they're screwed in properly. Why would the game get stuck? What we realized is, I actually brought this to my dad after I put it together, like, why is this so tight in front and the game getting stuck? And what we put together is because the screws are a little bit longer, it's making the plastic contort, which in turn was not letting the game actually go down. So what I think is that DKOldies purposely missed screws because they knew they weren't putting the proper specification screws in, and they knew if they put all the screws in the bottom, like if they actually did their job properly, that this wouldn't actually work. So they cut corners and did a half-assed job by design. Well done.
You blew it.
I tried to go into DKOldies with an open mind. I saw that there was negative press around them, but there's negative press around everyone on the internet. Look me up. I'm sure you'll see some stories. It's just how it is, and misinformation gets out there. But no, you are as much of a scam as everyone has been saying. It's incredible. I mean, this works. It's competent. But this, you consider refurbished? This you think is worth, depending on the bundle you get, $300? You did nothing to this.
Exactly. Like, they didn't do nothing. Like he said, just they missed screws just to cut corners so they didn't have to pay or do more work to it. And yet that's even more insane than the PlayStation 3. What he's saying, a original Nintendo Entertainment System for $300, like, that's not even worth $100, maybe $50 at tops, or $75. But the original Nintendo Entertainment System is clearly not worth $300 freaking dollars. So that is way more worse than the PlayStation 3 that Jacob R. and that we showed you that they have listed for $400, and especially a better flawed system for $540. Like, come on, man. Like, that's not even worth that much. Even if it was a backwards compatible PS2 version of the PlayStation 3 that can literally play all PlayStation 2 games, like, it's only worth maybe $250 tops. Like, I wouldn't say $250, I'd say $200 probably, but anywhere between $150 to, at most, just my personal opinion, $250 is what I think is probably the top of the price of what a fat original PlayStation 3, because if you really think about it, that's a really good collectible item, and we have two of those, and they work flawlessly, and they're clean from the people that we have gotten them from. So $250 is just my personal opinion of what I think the most is what the backward compatible fat PlayStation 3s are worth. Personally, I would say the average for probably what consumer would pay, and that it doesn't look way out of range, is I'd probably say $175 to $200 is probably the average price. But if somebody wanted to sell those for at least $250 and it was a way better, clean console than what Jacob R showed, yeah, I'd say it'd be worth $250 for a backward compatible PS3, because really you're talking about an item that is rare to probably even find that even still work to this day, and that you could play thousands of games from PlayStation 3, PS2, and PS1. So you got 3 generations into one console that you can play like thousands of games on. And you could just literally put them in your discs and they will work. So I would say, yeah, the fat PlayStation 3, if it is a backwards compatible one, at most is probably worth $250 at most, but I would say a decent average price for that to make it seem like it is still a, rare premium item, if it's in great, clean, working conditions, is probably $175 to $200. That's what I would say, in my opinion, a fat working PS2 backward compatible PS3 is worth. But let's move on to another Review Tech USA's video. And this is the fat original PlayStation 2 that he is showing. So watch this for a little bit.
That could be because I had it vertical. So, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. I think you know what I'm gonna say, though. Okay, I thought maybe it would be a smart idea to test if the basic functionality of the PlayStation 2 works. So, we will start by powering it on. That could be because I had it vertical, but why would it do that?
And right there is more evidence that they didn't even test the console out, because you can just literally see the disk drive just made a weird noise when it was opening. But watch it. Continue to watch it and see what happens.
Is DKOldies a scam? No.
They have to be doing this on purpose. I don't believe that they're not. This has to be some kind of 4D chess. Why would you? It's making a noise like it's having a bowel movement. Oh, Rich, they have a good return policy. Why are they sending 2 out of 2 have been bad? The NES and this. I'm gonna put a disc in. I'm gonna set it up to capture. See if it captures. At least see if it plays a game. At least see if they went that far to check it.
All right, as you see, the PlayStation 2 works. The disk drive begrudgingly took God of War. That did take a while to load, though. Yeah, you know how I know that took a while? Because it was going to go to the options menu like I didn't have a disc in there. So, this thing is...
Yeah, a PlayStation 2 shouldn't go to the options menu like that. It should immediately load the game at least within 5 seconds, at 5-6 seconds at most. Like, it should load the game before that cutscene goes away to the options menu. Like, that's nonsense. So right there, they clearly didn't do a single thing with the PS2 that he bought, especially for a good high price.
Is in rough shape. I don't know what's going to happen with the controller here. This is God of War, like I said. So, whatever. Let's play a little bit. See if it crashes. The video output, even though the AV multi-out, even though it's working as you see, was completely messed up. This thing was not refurbished in any way, shape, or form. If it was refurbished, those two things would have been addressed. The disk drive on this fat PS2, I give it like a month if you had regular use before it stopped working. You could hear that the gears are messed up, which is probably what that shaking piece of plastic was in there. Man, this HDMI box I have is pretty rough, huh? does not do the PS2 justice picture-wise. I absolutely got robbed on this PlayStation 2. I could have easily found one in better shape, not even refurbished, for the same price, if not cheaper. This company...
This mistake is costing Amazon Prime shoppers big. Are you
I
still
hate these
using
freaking
Prime?
ads, I will admit
Because
that.
company is disgusting.
Now we're getting to the good part. Just wait till you see what inside the PS2 looks like.
It's dusty. You can see nobody wiped it out.
Yeah. This has never been dusted. If you look, oh, here's a square. See?
Whole spot back here.
Whole spot back here.
You can't, yeah, with that lighting, you're not going to see that.
No, they saw it up front. Look, at the squares, you see it.
Yeah.
Let me do this one. Yeah, look at this square next to it. Look at that one. I don't think they touched in here. Do you think they touched in here?
No. They would have been fingerprints all over the top of that in the dirt that was there.
Yeah,
You would have seen people's fingers. Mine are there. Now, here, look on the side. You see dust here? Where I'm touching it?
Sorry.
It was all dusty.
So yeah, this has never been open. This has never once been open. No, not at all.
Oh, nobody's had the drive out, that's for sure.
No. Can you see my finger? Look. Yeah, do you see all the dust?
Yeah, right there. Just look at Rich's finger. Just by swinging it on just a little bit of dust, that's insanely filthy. So right there is another console that they considered refurbished, but they didn't actually clean it. They just listed it just so they can sell it. That's what's going on, because right there you're clearly seeing another console. The PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360 from freaking Jacob R, and then now this fat PlayStation 2 from Rich of Review Tech USA. Just, they're not doing nothing. They're clearly not doing a single freaking thing to these consoles. They're just listing them refurbished because they know if they list that, they're going to sell. That's the only reason why they are listing them refurbished to begin with, is just to sell them. And I'm going to say this one more time. I'll probably say it a countless of couple more times before the video ends. Do not buy from DKOldies, whether if you want an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 3, Xbox, a pre-owned original Xbox One, or pre-owned PS4, you're just better off to get the console either from used from eBay, GameStop, or even a pawn shop, for an example. You're just going to be better off to go to a pawn shop, even though they're not bright when it comes to stuff like that. You're going to most likely get a way better, cleaner looking console working condition at a pawn shop than you will with DKOldies, even though a pawn shop is not super bright either. But you're going to definitely get way cheaper and way better, working condition type of console, better than DKOldies from a pawn shop. So do not buy from DKOldies ever.
Yeah, we're not going to go with the full disassembly because obviously they did not clean it, and this is just natural dust for being in someone's home. Luckily, this doesn't seem like it was in a smoker's home, but you never know. Look back here at this. Tons of dust on the fan. So no refurbishing done on a console that you spent extra money on, a significant amount of extra money on, to be refurbished. Here's another thing they didn't refurbish. This is where the controller ports are. Look at the top. We did not do that. That was cracked.
So the DKOldies PlayStation 2, it wasn't refurbished. This is beyond cosmetically flawed. You saw where the joystick ports were cracked. This was not cleaned inside. There was a layer of dust. If this was freshly refurbished or refurbished at all, there would have been no dust inside. I don't know what else I could say about DKOldies. I don't really understand what they're trying to do. Maybe this is their 4D chess, like I've said before. Give YouTubers bad products, gets people to talk about them. Videos get a ton of views and they still get traffic anyway, but you want a bad reputation. So I don't.
They're not rich. It's a good idea, but you know, they clearly ain't. They're just doing it to freaking be liars just so they can get a quick buck from you and, you know, just to make you guys look bad, to buy bad consoles from them to make them look good. That's the only reason they're doing it, is because if they know that they put refurbished, fully whatever, and put it in, you know, the label down below of saying that the console's been refurbished, clean, or whatever, they know that it's just a simple way, a way to incentivize people to buy the products. That's the only reason why they're putting those refurbished, clean, tested, and fully working on, you know, the list of the items, is because they know it's going to make people buy them. They're not really doing it. They're just doing it to screw over consumers. And honestly, I have to admit, I will admit, I kind of hope they do go out of business. And I feel like the way that they're getting all of the negativity that they are getting, I feel like eventually they are, like, something's going to get done, because, like, you can't just keep selling consoles like that and lie to consumers, because, you know, it's just, in the long run, it's just not going to work out. So, yeah, they're just doing it to pretty much just to incentivize people to buy the products, because if they see the word refurbished or clean and tested, it's just going to get consumers like, oh, yeah, okay, that item is clean and tested. Well, let's give it a try. And then when people get it into their homes, like you and Jacob are, it's just not a really good product after all. So now we're going to move on to our last video, or, well, actually, no, that was actually our videos. Actually, I forgot that I showed you guys that video right there. But right there, like, you seen 3 Review Tech USA videos and 2 Jacob R videos of Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, original Xbox, PlayStation 2. Like, you clearly see all 5 of those consoles that they literally clearly are not doing a single freaking thing to them. And then, like we showed you with pricing, they're asking way overvalue price of what the items are actually worth. Actually, I'm going to see what this 360 is on flawed system. I want to see how much it's going to be. Wow. Huh. $144 for a cosmetically flawed system or whatever. I still think it's a little bit too much for a 360, especially that. Even if it was a 250 gigabyte, like, literally. And then as you can see, like Jacob R showed you, they didn't include, like, right here, or, well, let me see it again. But you can literally see that they are not including the controller. Like, just look at that controller right there. Like he showed you, that is a off-brand PlayStation 3, or probably just a, you know, a tech controller that you can use on any platform. Like, you can play that controller on PC, and it's an off-brand, so it's not going to work for the longevity if somebody was to get a decent good use out of that PlayStation 3. So, like, clearly, they're liars, they're scam artists, and they're just putting the word refurbished just so they can sell the items. Because you can clearly see it right there. A couple videos from Jacob R, and then a couple from Review Tech USA, and they've taken apart all 5 of those consoles, and you can clearly see there's dust, there's no new fresh of thermal paste at all on those consoles, and like I mentioned before, thermal paste is very, very important for a console, especially for with its cooling and whatnot, so it can run games right. Not even putting fresh new thermal paste is a completely, like, that right there alone is just a showing more proof that they're scams. If they're not even including something simple that is very, very important, that doesn't take that much work, like they don't even have to clean the console, but they still should be cleaning the console. But if they would at least put fresh new thermal paste on there, it would be a little bit different. Especially because that doesn't take that much work. All they have to do is have the stuff, just squirt a tiny bit on the center of those squares, and then call it a day. But no, they can't even do something easily like that only takes like 2 freaking seconds to do. They can't even do that. And that's very, very important for especially a console of some sort, whether if it's a PS1 or N64 from the 1990s, or if it's a current PS5 or Xbox Series X in 2020, 2022. Like, even if it's an old console or a new console, thermal paste is very important for a console to run. And if they can't do something simple like that, they're just scam artists. They're just freaking douchebag scams. And that's what that freaking guy, whatever the heck his name is, forget what Rich of Review Tech USA said his name was, but whatever that main guy of the company, he is a freaking scumbag that literally just likes to scam and lie to his consumers. And I honestly think that something needs to get settled. Something needs to get put down with DKOldies. And either they need to improve their business and actually do what they're labeling all of their items for. If they would have just done that, the pricing would be a little bit still too much, especially for the fat PS3 and especially the N64, or not N64, the Nintendo Entertainment System that Rich of Review Tech USA showed. Like, that thing is not worth $300. Like, yeah, I understand it's an old piece of tech, but that is not even worth $300. Even if it was in a way better condition, I would say $100 probably most is probably how much that N64, or I don't know why I keep saying N64, Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, that's only about how much I think that it's worth. So, but right here, from 5 of these videos, and then them lying, making this video saying they refurbished their console, showing it, when clearly you've seen from all of these videos right here that nothing is being refurbished. Not even clean, not even fresh new thermal paste, giving the consumers a off-brand knockoff controller, and then the console's making weird noises, not even playing games. So, like, they're just selling broken items. And I think something's going to happen to DKOldies eventually. Like, that something will eventually get settled. So, you seen it. It's proof right there. DKOldies is just a scam artist. They love to scam consumers, rip them off, and they're just trying to get a quick buck, and that's why they're putting the word refurbished in their items, so that way it incentivizes people to buy the item. That is why they're doing it. So, and selling for insanely high prices is a way bit too bizarre, especially the fat PlayStation 3 being $400, and also the NES being $300 that Rich of Review Tech USA said. It's completely stupid, and they need to freaking they need to have some freaking payback coming their way. Because if they don't, this is just going to keep getting on and going and going and going. So, like I said, do not buy from DKOldies. They are a scam, and they will just put the word refurbished on their items because it will just incentivize you to buy the item. I don't buy from DKOldies. That's just the best thing I could say don't buy DKOldies at all. Anything from them. Maybe I could possibly see maybe the games like you've seen Tomb Raider and freaking Far Cry 3 for the PlayStation 3 only being around $8-10. Maybe like games, but when it comes to consoles especially, don't buy from them. Don't buy a single console from DKOldies. But I would honestly highly recommend don't buy from them at all. No matter what, even if they had a pre-owned refurbished PlayStation 2 at all, even if they had that for only $1, just don't buy from them because they're scam artists and they don't care about nothing. And that guy honestly does need to get freaking revenge and payback eventually come to his way. He needs to get a taste of karma. So, that pretty much does it for the video today. This is Tech and Gaming Reviews. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys could smack that like button, also subscribe if you are new to this channel, and be sure to leave us your thoughts down in the comment section down below if you have bought anything from DKOldies and you experience the same exact issues as what these content YouTube creators have gotten. So just leave us your thoughts down in the comment section down below about DKOldies, if you bought anything from them, or if you personally agree with all bad items that these guys are getting, and if they should honestly get revenge for it. But just leave us your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you are new, and hit that like button, and we will be sure to see you on the next video.